Hello everybody, welcome to another Ask Nerida Joy video. I have my model here today, Kelly, and she has been struggling with some acne on her cheeks. I have not, this is the first time I'm actually seeing Kelly, so I don't know anything about her story, so I'm going to ask her some questions about what it is that she has been doing for her skin and how long it has been that she's been struggling with it. So Kelly, would you mind just sharing with us just what you've been going through, how long you've been struggling with acne?
I just, anything with like bumps, I tend to pick. So,
okay.
Yeah, I think that's just the number one thing. Sometimes there wouldn't be anything there, and then if I feel a bump, I tend to like stab it until it bleeds to get all scabby.
Okay. So how long have you sort of been struggling with acne on your cheeks for?
Since high school.
Since high school. And that would be how long?
8 years.
8 years, okay. So it's down here gone down onto the neck area a little bit as well. She also has a little bit here on her chest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask that you can zoom in on Kelly's skin for me, please. And we're going to diagnose her skin here. Before we get going with the cleanser. So I'm diagnosing Kelly's skin looking through the Maggie lamp. She is an oily skin, meaning that she's got blackheads and oil all over her face here, and she's surface dry. So this is something that we know, because I've talked about it a lot, is very common living here in Los Angeles. You can be an oily skin and have blackheads and pustules. And also be surface dry. So this is her problem. So what we know already is that by her skin being surface dry, it doesn't allow the oil to get out of her skin. So those blackheads, the bacteria, dead cells, and sebum builds up inside the pore, and it stretches your pores. So that's what makes your pores larger. So what's really important is we need to get her on a good cleanser, because her cleanser is probably a little bit stripping and drying the outer layer of her skin. Now, she's got blackheads up here mostly, around the nose, blackheads too. On her cheeks, you can see she's got some milias, and she's also got some little pustules here, maybe a couple of little hormonal painful pimples. But her milias here are not the hard kind that have been there a long time, that have an odor when you squeeze them. These ones here I can tell, because this area of the face too is her small intestine. She's had it for some time, but she's probably eating cheese, a little bit of dairy that is not working well for her body type. Now, what happens when dairy in general doesn't work for your body type, you are going to start to notice these little fatty bumps on the cheeks, which starts up here, and then as it starts to set in to the body, it starts to move down. Now this here is your large intestine, so she's had this for some time, and now it's kind of spread a little bit to her large intestine, and that's why she's also getting a few little breakouts here. But I'm touching her skin. Her skin is very surface dry. So this is a problem for helping this oil to get out. So what I'm going to do, we're going to cleanse off her skin. I'm going to exfoliate. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to take these pads off her eyes, and we're going to cleanse off her skin. The great thing about this particular cleanser is that you can also put a little bit on cotton and remove her eye makeup, because when she came in, she did have on some makeup around her eyes and some mascara. So the K cleanser will clean the skin really well, but it will also take off eye makeup around the eyes and not be irritating to the eye area, which is great, because it's really hard to find a good eye makeup remover and one that doesn't irritate the eyes. We've established that she is having a little bit too much dairy, and sometimes it's not even that she's having too much, it's just that the body doesn't work well with it, and I always put soy into that category. Anybody who's dealing with a problematic skin and getting little pimples, pustules or papules coming up under the skin, we know her skin is oily, but I also like to talk to them about their diet and certain foods that are really important for her to stay off, and that is peanuts and dairy in her case. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to do an exfoliation on her skin. I'm going to use that enzyme exfoliant that we have used in the past. It's one that has a buffing effect on the epidermis, and it really helps to clean the pores and get rid of that bacteria in there and just prepare the skin ready for steam and extractions. So I'm working in the exfoliant. This is a papaya-based exfoliant. It has a buffing effect on the epidermis. There are not little granules in this one. This one has an absorbing effect. It has a little bit of glycolics, so Kelly will be feeling it to be a little bit tingly on the skin. And this one really helps to keep the pores clean. So we want to just help clean her skin up as much as we can so that when we go to do the extractions, it isn't as painful for her to do that. So I'm working it into the skin for a couple of minutes, and it's going to really help clean up her skin. I can feel when I massage her skin, I can feel the little blackheads. It feels a little bumpy, so I know that her cleanser that she's using at home is maybe not as cleansing as it should be. So what's really important is when you're washing your face at night time, that first cleanse, you use a clean, warm, wet washcloth to take it off. And the second cleanse, you're just rinsing with lukewarm water. So we've cleansed her skin, we've exfoliated her skin, and I'm just working in a really light little healing gel on her skin right now. This is mostly an aloe-based healing gel, and we are going to work it into her skin just to prep her skin a little bit. I'm not going to massage it a lot. I don't like to massage an oily skin a lot, but we are just going to work in the healing gel. Now at this point, I like to use steam with the treatment. So the steam is really helping her skin to soften, so it makes it a lot easier for extractions. When I use my steamer, I have it at an arm's distance. I don't like to have it too close to the face. You don't want the skin to sweat too much, because if it starts to sweat and perspire, then what that means is the skin can get really dehydrated, and we don't want that. So I'm just working a little bit of the healing gel. Again, it's an aloe-based healing gel. We're working that into her skin. Her skin is quite oily, and she has got some closed comedones. She's got these blackheads pretty much all over her face, and we've got these little areas here on the cheeks where it's congested that I know if she stopped eating dairy or certainly cut back significantly, her skin here would be a lot better. Now, someone who eats a lot of dairy, it means, later on, if you're getting these little bumps under your skin, which we know are not necessarily from oil, there's different kinds of acne. So you've got your little pustules that we can see have the yellow head, and then you've got these comedones underneath, these white little bumps under the skin here that are very common, that come up in this area on the face and often around the mouth area too. Now this is all the small intestine, and what I would recommend for them is to stop eating dairy. So dairy is a big factor here where the body just doesn't work well with that type of fat. And that later in life, if one continues eating dairy, knowing that it doesn't work well in the body, then they can have a cholesterol problem later in life. So to save on that high cholesterol, and it's often someone in the family, if you ask around, you'll find that maybe the grandparents or the parents was people that also were suffering with the higher cholesterol. Now, when we start with extractions, I like to do the forehead first. Occasionally, you will have someone say, please do my nose area because it's so sensitive, but I like to do the forehead first. So we're going to start up here, and I usually start on half the side of the face. So I'll do half the forehead and work down a little bit, and then go back onto the other side of the forehead and work down. But it doesn't matter. It's whatever is convenient and what works for you. Now, Kelly did mention that she likes to extract herself quite often. So a couple of these here we're seeing has little scabs on them, and sometimes you just got to check to make sure that she's got it all out, because if she did not get it all out, then what's going to happen, it's going to leave a little mark and it's going to stay, it's not going to heal properly. So we want to make sure that the cleaning that she has attempted herself is that she's got it all out, and if she hasn't, we have to go back in and finish it, like that one right there. A regular milia you could not squeeze and get out like this. So this particular one, these little white bumps, that means that Kelly's, she's a younger person. So sometimes if she had left these a really long time, what's inside, the substance inside, is going to thicken. Some of these ones here, these white bumps under the skin, and I hope you can see that. These ones here are not milias. These ones here, and as I said, because Kelly is still a young person, these have not been here a really long time. I would say, looking at her skin, because it's already started to spread down to her large intestine, she's probably had this about 5 years where she's seeing these little white bumps under the skin. She mentioned earlier that she's had problematic skin for about 8 years, but these white bumps would not have been the first thing that came up. So this is as a result of the food related, and we talked about dairy, so she's going to cut back in that area. But once we get all of these out, which these little white ones, see, these come out. Now if they were a milia, we're not going to be able to get them out without with squeezing like this. They're not going to come out like this, you see. Okay, so I'm going to need you for about an hour and a half, and we're going to get all of this out. So what we've done, we've extracted Kelly's skin. She was a trooper in removing it. What we are going to do is have Kelly come back in 2 weeks, so you'll be able to see the difference in her skin, and it's going to be really significant, which will be great. So what I'm going to do now, we're going to remove her pads from her eyes, and I'm going to do something on her skin that is called a normalizing formula. The normalizing formula is a product that is designed for oily skin. This one is, again, a Rejuve item. It has urea peroxide, it has amino acids. It is going to be a little stingy on her skin, so it's going to make her skin red. But what it's going to do is, once you've cleaned the pores and you've done a really good extraction, you need to now shrink the pores. So we're going to put just a light coating of this all over her face. It's going to be a little stingy, and we're only going to leave it on a minute or two and then take it off. And I'm going to keep an eye on her skin. Sometimes the skin can get a little bit blanched, it is a very light form of a peel. So we're going to just do a really light coating of that, and then we're going to put the mask on. I'm just going to do a really light little coat.
I like dairy.
You like dairy? Yeah. Yeah, but you're going to have to cut back tremendously because it's not good for you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only way your skin, because if you don't start cutting back on dairy, your skin's going to get worse.
Yeah, and you say high cholesterol. So
Yeah, and then you're going to have then you can have high cholesterol later. Yep. So when you stop dairy, your dad has high cholesterol, yeah. Yeah, so your body, you're born, you come into this world with already weakened organs, you see. So now what's important is that you have to nip it though, you know, you got to find other things that you enjoy. And cheese just doesn't, the dairy and, you know,
it's not cheese, it's milk.
Oh, it's milk.
Just
milk.
milk.
Oh, really? You love milk?
Yeah, not cheese, milk.
Yeah. Okay, so what we've done is we've cleansed her skin. We've done an exfoliant on her skin. We have worked in a healing gel, which is mostly an aloe vera healing gel, just for a little bit. We've used some steam. We've done our extractions on her skin, and we have used the normalizing formula, which is a formula that is designed, this normalizing formula, designed for oily skin. And depending on your age, there's adult acne, there's teenage acne, and there's all these different reasons as to why people break out and get these bumps under the skin. And a lot of it is food related and a lot of it is hormonal. So this one here, we put this on Kelly's skin. We've left it on a couple of minutes on the skin. It does burn. It makes the skin quite red. So often when they walk out of here, they are a little bit pink. And we've put the mask on. Okay, we've removed the mask. Her skin's a little pink. I'm putting that healing gel on again, that aloe vera healing gel. And we're just going to leave that on her skin. It's going to soak in. Now, sometimes what I like to do is when the mask is on, I like to get 2 cold, icy cold little pads that these little round pads that I have, I keep them in the freezer. And sometimes it's nice over top of the mask to hold it on for 10 seconds, take it off, and just move it around the face. And that way it will really get rid of a lot of the redness in the skin so that they're not so red when they walk out. Okay, this is a very light moisturizer I'm putting on over top of the healing gel. It's very light. It's non-comedogenic, which is what Kelly has to use, a cream that is non-comedogenic, because we do not want to clog those pores up. We put a little bit of eye gel around Kelly's eyes. She's all ready now to go home. I am going to be seeing her back in 2 weeks. We are going to keep an eye on her skin, and she's going to be using the products that I've given her for the next 2 weeks. And you will see a big improvement when she comes back. So I'm looking forward to having her come back in 2 weeks so we can do another follow-up video for Kelly's treatment. So thank you so much for joining us here, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.